Vampire Hunter D Omnibus Book 1 Novel Volumes 1 to 3 Review. Vampire Hunter D is one of the most successful and enduring Japanese novel series, having started in 1983 and with new novels still being written to this day. Created by Hideyuki Kokoshi, also created Wicked City and illustrated by Yoshitaka Amano, these novels has resulted in the creation of the title character whose adventures into an anime and manga have left their mark in popular Japanese culture. Dark Horse is now releasing this omnibus edition of his novels, while graphic audio is the released fully dramatized audiobook versions of these books from December onwards. The story of Vampire Hunter D arguably starts in what was then the futuristic 1999, when the nuclear war struck the Earth. Among the survivors were vampires, or nobles as they called themselves, who can control the shelters and technology that allowed them to create their own civilization, with them as a dominant race. While they had all the benefits of future technology, they still lacked their medieval-style castles that live and some things never die, including the nobles. Unless a stake was struck during the heart, the nobles, however, wrote about every kind of monster that subjugate and control the humans they fed on, and even went as far as to wipe out the humanity's memory of the weaknesses vampires have, like garlic. However, the nobles were descended. The humans would not stop rebelling, and now humanity is once again establishing itself as a dominant race, until the nobles are still feared. It is now the year 12,090 AD, and the main areas of fighting between nobles and humans are in the frontier regions, far away from the centralized capital. It is here where vampire hunters travel to kill their prey and make money. Among the greatest of these hunters is the one simply known as D dressed in black, wearing a wide brim hat, wielding a crescent sword, and riding a cyber horse. D has several advantages over the average hunter. For starters, he is a Dumbfear, a cross between a human and a vampire, giving the abilities to both, and who is similarly related to the sacred ancestor Dracula. He is much stronger than any human, but he can also travel during the hours of daylight for most of the time. Although sometimes he can be struck by a sunlight syndrome, which can cause sudden exhaustion. D also has in him a special blue pendant which can disable just about any technology vampires may be using to protect themselves. Then there's D's left hand, which contains its own creature, more than happy to talk back to D. With his own magical abilities, which he can create by consuming the four elements, he can even bring D back from the dead. This book contains three different stories. The first, simply entitled Vampire Hunter D, sees D helping a monster hunter called Doris, who has fallen victim to the vampire spot. Not only that, but the son of the town's mayor is constantly trying to have his wicked way with her. And another vampire hunter in the area appears to turn traitor and signs with the vampire in question in exchange for immortality. And the second, Racer of Gales. D finds himself having to deal with a case where vampires are hunting in the village, in which 10 years earlier, 4 children suddenly vanished, and a month later, only 3 returned. In the third story, D won that chase. D is in a race against the time, against a family of hunters who track down a vampire who is trying to escape with a human girl that he loves, who loves him in return. In all of these novels, the main attractions is the central figure of D. This half-human, half-vampire creature has seemingly infinite power and the ability to stop all that comes. He is an enigmatic being. Like any professional, he has the right tools for the job. And when it comes down to the fight, when he might lose the outbout, he will always be able to return and win the final round in a thrilling way. This is partly thanks to the left hand, who is able to help the generate. Left hand also adds some comedy to overall dark tone to the series due to his wisecracking nature, in contrast to the obvious series D. D and his left hand are the only recurring characters to appear in all 3 novels. D is a traveler and as such, he's never in one place for too long. Once the story has ended, he is back on his cyber course and running to his next job. There are however some similarities when it comes to side characters. Normally, he comes to the assistance of a young woman and, like in many a horror story, she ends up as the final girl who survives the terrors around her while everyone else perishes. As well as the writing, the illustrations add to the dramatic tone. Amano's artwork, which appears during the book, brings to life the gloomy setting of the stories, and enhances the argument that the black and white drawings you get in manga, as well as novels, can be better than color pictures. You get the feeling that you eventually find yourself in the grim dark setting. Regarding the production of the collection, Kevin Laley's translation is generally fine, only one or two things to stick out. Some of the expressions feel as if they have been toned down because of bad language, such as, "Oh, you worthless sack of dung." You get the feeling that shit would have been the more suitable choice if you are insulting someone. Some passages feel like incorrect with typos like, "Don't make such a puss." I'm guessing that should be fuss. While nothing major, another issue is the use of enlarged initial letters at the beginning of substantial pieces of text. Generally, that is no problem, but there is a bit of a design flaw when it opens with mention of the, because there is no space between its name and the second word in the sentence. Thus, the awoke can read like the awoke. They also get dolted and accomplished. Vampire Hunter D is an entertaining read mixing elements of many different genres to create something very different from what is often available. If you're looking for something is charged with more over populous genres like Isekai, it is one you may wish to seek out. 8 over 10.